You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com, broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in sunny Northport, Florida. And I have to apologize a little bit for the delay on the radio. I hit that stream and the internet didn't connect right away. So if you're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 FM. We have a very, very, very special guest in the house. Amy, I'll let you introduce yourself again. She was on last month, did a great job. And we're going to learn some new things today, I think. So go ahead, Amy.
I'm Amy Hudelston. I'm the communications coordinator with the Center for Abuse and Rape Emergencies. We provide victim services to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and other violent crimes in Charlotte County.
That is awesome. And you guys do a great job. I know that you have a lot of things happening out there, but I want to kind of start out today. I know you've got some things you want to talk about, but I know we've got some time to elaborate a little bit, but we do this every month. And can you tell the listening audience the value of having the voice be heard every month about C.A.R.E and what you guys do?
It helps us by getting the word out, period. Somebody could be just tune in their dial on the radio and hear our show and be like, oh, wow, that's information I didn't know about. I didn't know that they were there. I didn't know that those services were out there. So we're trying to reach as many people as possible and let people know that we're available for them 24/7, 365, anytime they need for pretty much anything. Like if you're going through DV at home, if you've had a sexual assault, if you've had sexual assault as a child, we're here for you. If you're watching that Law and Order episode and something triggers you and you just need somebody to talk to, we're here for that. We're here to help, survivors get back on track and lead healthier, happier lives.
When we do, it's a completely different angle through our conversations a lot of times. And I think it's because it's so relaxed. I think it gives people a chance to really absorb what we're talking and maybe give some thought even to today, past, and maybe future action that they may entail. Do you want to give a little bit of insight on that too?
I didn't really get your clicking out. What did you just say?
Do you want to give some insight on the past, the present, and the future on how the show puts people in a different mindset, maybe to pay attention to what's happening out there?
Oh, yeah. So in the past, it's still kind of taboo to talk about rape and talk about domestic violence and all of that stuff. People are like, oh, that stuff needs to stay behind closed doors. We really don't like to talk about it, or, what was she wearing, or was she drunk, or X, Y, and Z, whatever the situation. Now from the show, we get to talk about it in real time because it's 2021 and we want to start changing the behavior of everyday people and getting, yes, it's a horrible subject to talk about. I would love to work myself out of a job, but it still happens here. It happens every day. In the month of March, we went on quite a few hospital responses. We had several hundred phone calls come into the hotline. It still happens here. So we want to use this show as a platform and use your audience and try to connect with as many people as possible to let people know that we're here. And we're here to help you. And that's what we want to do, is help you get through whatever it is you're going through and help you move to the future.
And kind of one of the goals that I had in having you guys on every month is something that you talked about, just now, which is the more casual conversation we can have about this versus the apprehensiveness about the conversation about this topic. And I think the only way that we as a society can kind of bust the walls down and take the fear out of the conversation is kind of going live on the radio, talking about it. We have 55 minutes that we've spent a lot of months doing now, and hopefully making this a common conversation versus that one that you hide behind or struggle to even let out. And I know you deal with that all the time. That's kind of like the reason C.A.R.E is there, is because a lot of this pent up information or pent up, and I don't even want to use the word guilt, because it's guilt in the wrong way. A lot of times it's not guilt in association, it's guilt in feeling guilty about even talking about it. And can you elaborate on what people go through when they are abused, and set that kind of up for your topics that you want to talk about today? Because I think it's important.
So April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. For our agency, when at any one of the local hospitals in Charlotte County, if someone comes in and reports that they've had a sexual assault, they immediately call our agency. We get a phone call to the hotline. We send out an advocate. We have advocates on call 365 days a year, 7 days a week, any of the time. They could call you at 5:30 in the afternoon. They could call you at 2:30 in the morning. Anytime, someone's going to show up. We go to the hospital. We go back, let the staff know, the nurse or the doctor or whatever, and say, hey, we're here from C.A.R.E. What we do is we bring our hospital response bag that has a fresh change of clothes, some toiletries to clean up, a blanket for comfort, brand new sandals, socks, whatever they may need in the moment. Because when you show up to the hospital and you're sexually assaulted, the first thing they're going to want to do is take your clothes and take all of your items for evidence. There's a sexual assault kit, more commonly known as a rape kit, and that is a very detailed process. In Charlotte County, we unfortunately only have one trained SANE nurse, which is a nurse that can do the entire exam. If that nurse isn't on call, the doctor has to do all of the pelvic examination. So it makes the process a little bit more invasive, because you have more people coming in and out of the room and all of that. But C.A.R.E is there for you the entire step of the way. If the survivor wants C.A.R.E in the room, they want to talk to us, and when you go in, you give them all the resources that we provide. Here's the services for victim services, like crime victim compensation, possibly paying for medical bills and whatnot. We talk about our services, how we do counseling, how we have, support groups, give them resources and all of that could help them down the road, because we're with people on the worst day of their lives. So we're there. We're not the mom or the dad or the sibling or the friend that is going to be like slightly judgmental, because as a friend or family member, 98% of the time, they don't know what to say. They're still living in the same, oh, well, how do you know that this is real? Or were you too drunk? Or, like you went over there willingly. Like family and friends generally don't know how to respond. For an advocate, it's, we believe you. You did not deserve this to happen to you. We are going to be there every step of the way till you feel safe and you feel better about your life and you want to, prosper and go on. And because you aren't what happened to you. We're the people that hold your hand and stand by you through the process. If you get prosecuted, like if you choose to prosecute your assailant, all of that. We have advocates in the state's attorney's office. We have a lawyer on staff, all of that. So going after that, the first step is we try to make an appointment set up for their survivor so we can talk to them more in depth, because in that moment, you're really not knowing what's going on. Like you're getting a whole bunch of information thrown at you at once. You have police officers, you have hospital staff, you have the C.A.R.E advocate, when all you want to do is curl up and go home type thing. So we try to be like their light in the dark type thing. Like we try to support them as much as possible through all of the process. And in April, since it is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we're asking all of our followers and all of anybody that knows us to join in our Run for Consent 2021. Basically, it's very easy. It's free, and you can get free stuff. You want to go to our website, carefl.org, and on the homepage, you scroll down, you click register for your Run for Consent. You're going to start by pledging to start by believing. That's when someone comes to you that says, hey, I've been sexually assaulted or I've been sexually abused, whatever it is. You don't question them. You don't question them, period. You believe them. Then you're going to, sign up to do I'm going to do this. You can do your 5K from walking around at work, tracking your steps. I mean, we all have a cell phone in your pocket that tracks every step of your day. You can easily do a 5K throughout the day that you walk around at work. You can do it by walking your dog, cycling in the park, get moving. Any of your steps that equal 5K, you've done it. It's not, you have to show up at this time, you have to pay this much money. It's free. We just want to raise awareness about sexual assault. Then when you do your race, we want you to snap a photo and tag C.A.R.E. If you scroll down on the homepage, it's right there. Scroll back up. You missed it.
One more up, Marie.
There we go.
And
right there. You click register.
Marie's got this showing on our Facebook page. Yep.
Yep, we have it on our Facebook. We have it on our website. Basically, when you do your run, we want you to snap a photo and we want you to tag C.A.R.E. and use the hashtag Run for Consent 2021. And then you can either post it on your social media or you can email a photo if you don't do social media and email it to that address right there. And then you can go pick up your swag bag any Tuesday in the month of April at either one of our reuse locations, or you can call that number and we can set it up and figure out a way to get your swag.
And, these are all ways of bringing awareness to the cause, correct?
Yes.
And we can all bring awareness if we're just willing to have a conversation that it's actually real. These things, we watch them in movies, and my wife and I have been caught up in watching series of different shows now on Netflix and Amazon because of COVID. But it's amazing how many series are linked to abuse and different causes that are out there. And I think maybe we could use the pandemic and the time we've now spent maybe all watching different topics is to really knock down the barriers and maybe have these conversations starting earlier in life, starting younger, because the younger that we teach awareness and the cautions, isn't that an improvement of what we've had in the past where it's always been kind of hidden in the dark, so to speak? No pun
yeah,
intended.
I can tell that you've totally been checking out my social media because I posted something last week that was basically like, why are we still teaching women tips and tricks how not to get raped instead of teaching our children in grade school about consent? Why aren't we talking more about consent? Like, it's not, we need to teach at a younger age that it's not okay to bully a girl to get their attention. It's not okay to poke fun or inappropriately touch someone. Safe touch, you need to talk about it. Like, consent, it doesn't matter if you consented all the way up to whatever situation you're in. Or you were drunk, you were whatever, you were going with it. The second you say no, it becomes rape, period. And we need to start teaching our children, this is what consent is, this is what rape is. Because I'm doing a lot of different research on sexual assault awareness and different rape cases and stuff like that for our social media. And it goes back to, I think it's called Roll Red Roll on Netflix. It's a documentary about the high school football team that basically gang raped a girl at a party and then put it all over social media and nothing happened to them. It divided the town, but there wasn't like, there wasn't severe prosecution. Like they went to court and all of that stuff, but they didn't actually go to prison or anything like that. And it was, oh, well, she was drunk. Oh, she deserved it. And this, and that, rather than focusing on why did you do this in the first place? The assailants in that case, oh, well, I didn't know what rape was. I didn't know that that was okay. It's all about the bystander intervention too, because there was people at that party that sat around and watched it happen and just let it happen. Like, why is that okay for you to do that? It's not. Like, as a person, you need to speak up, say something, get involved, do whatever you need to do to not let that happen to another human being, because if that was happening to you, you wouldn't like it. So it's all about holding people accountable. And I think now that our generation, at least my generation, is more on speaking up and saying something and getting in your face about it, rather than just being conservative like the day of my parents or my grandparents and just hush hush about it. Like, we don't talk about that type of thing.
Well, we've been able to open communications in a lot of different directions. This one, for me, doesn't seem like it should be that difficult, although
me either.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because not only are we having it on the radio, but we're also having it on Facebook. So if you want to share this information with somebody, go to Real Talk 97.5, share this video. The more shares that we get with this video, the more people that see this information, the more people that can get relaxed about having this conversation with family members or even their children, because it's both sides of the aisle. It doesn't affect just women. It's men and women, boys and girls. These types of things even lead into human trafficking type situations. And we have to be aware, I think, more now than ever, because we've sheltered the neighborhood kind of feel for a long time. And neighborhoods of the 70s are different than neighborhoods of today, where
absolutely.
Neighbors used to know everybody and see everything. Now, they didn't used to talk about it too much unless you were in trouble and they knew they could make that call. But the difference today is now we don't even know our neighbors, and everything's done on social media. And a lot of these neighborhoods aren't as strong as what they were before. And I think we need to reteach how to reconnect on the local level without social media, on watching out for the youth. And it starts with the youth, because that's where I think the greatest amount of change can happen, is if we start teaching this now and let them grow through it. And I think you probably have some data on that also. Go ahead.
Yeah, we actually do a lot of prevention. We have currently we're in the Compass youth teen girls. I'm not really sure what we do. A program at Compass. We're in the Boys and Girls Club before Charlotte Middle. We do YMCA down the road from us as well. We teach prevention of what's safe and what's not safe, like safe touch, safe secrets. We talk about your interaction online, because I know for myself and the friends that I have with children, they're not really sure, because technology changes every single day in a blink of a second. And there's this app and you can hide this folder and you can do all of this stuff. So what we're trying to do with our prevention is to get the word out there and to teach kids that, hey, no, you shouldn't be sending that explicit photo to get more game points. No, you shouldn't be having an OnlyFans at 15 years old. No, that photo shouldn't be once it's on social media, it's there forever. It doesn't matter if it says they disappear in 24 hours. It sits on a server somewhere. Like, hackers can get into everything. Then it could be uploaded to a website without your consent, and it's everywhere. You shouldn't be sending those photos to a boyfriend or a girlfriend either, because that's how you get revenge porn, and that's how you get people, teen suicide happening, because the girl thought it was safe. She was sending it to her boyfriend, and then, never know, they break up 2 days later and it's all over campus. So we're trying to get in to the younger generation and the teens to talk about it. Yes, it happens. These are healthy signs of relationships. These are unhealthy signs. What to do, what not to do on social media. And just start on the basics, because I know for me, my mom never talked about domestic violence. My mom never talked about rape. You know, it was, hey, this is your little sex educational parent-to-parent thing. And that was kind of it. I learned about all of the bad things that could happen pretty much from TV and social media and internet and stuff like that. We never really talked about what consent was in school either. And that's, for me, I know that we're going to try to get more into teaching consent and try to do a workshop at the schools and stuff like that. We're in the midst of talking to them, but right now school is very hard to get into because COVID, and you know, they do have their studies and stuff like that with the online learning. We don't want to take too much time, but we also want to get the message out there that without consent, there is nothing.
Well, so. And a couple things I'm glad you hit on, because in this day and age, compared to the old neighborhood of the past, mm-hmm. we used to have conversation. We used to have a camera snapshot, and that photo got lost a lot of times. We don't have that today. We have Instagram, we have text messages, we have social media at a whole completely different level than we've ever seen before. And it's only going to amplify throughout everyone's life, including newborns from today forward. It's not going to get simpler. It's going to get more complex. And I really want you to hone in on that, because I think the educational side of that is opening the communication with the parent before they start texting. Go ahead.
Oh, no, like that's really what we're trying to focus on with all of our prevention and our outreach coordinator and our prevention coordinator. Like, they're really driving home the fact of it is light years different from, you know, we're all young. The rest of my colleagues, they're all under the age of 30, and they, you know, a couple of them do have kids, and they're scared for them too, because you have this vast world that's ever changing and ever moving, and you don't really know. So when you have that like little pep talk with a parent that says, hey, that post on social media, why is it out there? Telling them about all the things that, yes, you don't want to think about all the bad things that can happen, because it doesn't happen to everybody. But for the statistics of 1 in 4 women will be sexually assaulted or harassed before the age of 18, like what? Or before like college age years. Like, why is that still happening? That's a statistic that has only gotten worse over the last 30 years. Like, 1 in 6 men have been sexually assaulted or abused in their lifetimes. And that's like general men, like 1 in 6. So you could be at the bar with all of your friends, hanging out, go to somebody's birthday party, and there's a whole family out there. There's 20, 30 people there. Okay, so at least 5 of them have experienced that in that room, men and women. That's insane. So when we talk about prevention, we talk about this is what to do, this is what not to do. Healthy, non-healthy relationships. You know, I sit with my nieces, and it's, oh, well, this girl's doing this, and she's let him have all her passwords, and, you know, he has control over social media. That is a control tactic that is going on at 14 years old. No, you're starting the cycle at that early. No, that's not acceptable behavior. You don't need my passwords. You don't need to tell me who I can and can't see. Nothing. And when you talk to parents about it and you discuss things like that, like a couple months ago was Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, we focused on that because parents aren't really having that conversation. They're like just trying to do what's best for their kid. And it's 2021. Like, there's not a lot of stay-at-home parents anymore. Not in that I know. The majority of parents, if they are staying home, they're working 8 hours in their office rather than, you know, spending time with their children and teaching them stuff. even if some people are stay-at-home parents, they're still cleaning the house, they're changing diapers. Everybody's so busy all the time. So you kind of don't know what's going on, or you just choose to like, oh, that's not going to happen to my kid. But when you actually sit and talk to them about it, they know that it happens because, I mean, they see it on TikTok. They see it on TV all the time. They see it on social media when their best friend's boyfriend gets a hold of their social media and is posting random pictures or putting out nasty text messages. So getting to them there, they kind of see it. So going into adult life, they know, hey, that's a red flag. I'm not going to do that. Hey, you know, remember that one time, like that C.A.R.E lady, that definitely hit home. We look for those moments, and it will happen because I believe in what we do. And if we don't do it, then who else is going to do it? You know?
Well, and I'm going to ask you a question because I'm trying to think, what would I do if I had girls? Now I know what I did with the boys, and it was a guy power move that you're doing the right thing or else. Girls are a little different at times because they're quieter. I have granddaughters now, and I'm wondering what would I, or how would I have addressed that, because I didn't have that opportunity. And in the last 2 years, talking with you guys at C.A.R.E and understanding, not that I didn't understand it before, but you know, we're having open dialogue. We're now talking about this every month, and so I get to think about it every month. And I also think about it throughout the month now. And I think that's kind of what we need to change society to, is that we're all thinking about it versus putting it on the back burner as if it won't happen. And I'm going to kind of address this way with you and kind of let you run with it, because I know you can, is that shouldn't the mindset be in the prevention side of things? Just act like it already happened, so you can talk about it. Because if you hide it and you're ashamed to talk about it up front in preventing it, even if it does happen, you're kind of building the wall of not having the conversation later. That's just my interpretation of it, is that if we just start talking about it like it's real, then we can help prevent a lot more, and hopefully it won't happen. But if it does, the open communication is already there about the topic versus having to introduce what happened to you to somebody who's never talked to you about it. But go ahead. That's just my theory.
I've only done a little bit of prevention myself, and I noticed when I went out there that teenagers are it depends. Like, I haven't personally worked with the younger K-5 kids, but I do have nieces and nephews. And, you know, you just kind of got to go with them. Like, it's gentle, like, hey, this is safe touch. This is safe touch. What's a safe secret? You know, if you have somebody coming to you, like an adult coming to you being like, oh, don't tell mommy and daddy, you know, they won't love you anymore or something like that. You just kind of like bring up the conversation like that, because you don't want to for the very younger kids, I don't feel like I want to scare them and tell them that it does happen to them and be like, oh yeah, you know, Jimmy over there in Massachusetts totally got raped and murdered on his bike ride from home. Like, you don't want to scare the K-5 kids. But when it comes to middle schoolers and high schoolers, they know about it. They watch Netflix. They see the Aubrey and Daisy documentary. Daisy was 23 years old when she killed herself because she was sexually assaulted. She became a pioneer survivor advocate that told her story and stood up for survivors everywhere and said that it could happen to them, and still succumbed to the trauma that affected her. Teenagers see it. They know it happens. They don't necessarily, oh, it's not going to happen to me. But when you bring up, oh, hey, did you see that on the 5 o'clock news, that spring breaker that was 18 years old that was down in Miami? She went on spring break with her college friends. Someone put something in her drink and she was taken back to an unfamiliar hotel room and raped and consequently left for dead. That happened 3 hours away. That happens here. So when it comes to the teenagers, they know it's real. And it's, yes, I'm going to do better. Yes, I'm not going to do better, but I'm not a parent, but you're a parent. You know that no matter how much you teach your children, they're going to do whatever they want to do. So basically, we're just hoping that they take the tools that we give to them and roll with it, because we're all human. We all make mistakes, you know, like your mom, your family can tell you, hey, don't go play in the street 100 times until, you know, you get clipped by a car, and then you learn, something like that. But for us, we really just, we hope that we're doing the best thing. You know what I'm saying? Like teaching them and hoping that they take it into their adult lives, because we can't force anybody to do something that they don't want to do. But for the prevention side, we're teaching to our best abilities and letting them know.
So I want to talk about this a little bit in the prevention side, and I'm going to take not just the girl side but the guy side of this, and because I know there's some correlations between these. But can you talk a little bit about what some of the things that we should be looking out for on the younger side, because they're dating now, they're experiencing different things that they've never experienced before, maybe different thoughts, and getting egged on by you know, some peer pressure that's out there today, to do certain things, maybe go to a party. Some of the things that you teach now to maybe bring awareness to your surroundings and what you should be paying attention to.
I mean, for a teenager, I feel like they just really pay attention to their phone. But things that they do need to be aware of is, the main thing for me is, like, they go to a party. If you're going to be drinking there, make sure that, like, you feel you trust where you know what happened to your drink. And, you know, like, I believe in the buddy system for me as a grown adult, but at the same time, like, I hate the fact that, like, we have to teach people tips and tricks not to get raped and sexually assaulted. Like, it drives me nuts, but it's something that we've had to do. Like, make sure that you're safe with your friends. Make sure you know where your phone is at all times. Make sure that you watch for how much you're drinking, type thing. Like, when it comes to, my office mate is so great. Love her to death. She, consent and respect. Like, you have to have respect for yourself. And if you don't want to do something, no means no, period. Like, yes means yes, and no means no. If you don't want to do something, you say no. And if they're pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do whatever you need to get out of the situation.
Right. And
Linda said a blog that's really good. I have read it. You don't have to get laid tonight. It's okay. You don't have to get laid tonight, because I feel like for the young teen boys, it's all, oh, well, I got with this girl. I hooked up with this girl, and, oh, did you see her? I'm totally going to hook up with her tonight, type thing. Like, there's so much pressure to, like, do the action of it and be one of the cool dudes, but you don't actually have to do that. You can have respect for a woman. And, oh, that's actually, for me as an adult, that's actually a turn on if you take me to dinner and you don't try to initiate sex on the first date. Like, you have respect for me. You have respect for yourself, that you're not just after that. For kids these days, I mean, I don't hang out with a lot of teenagers, but I think that the more that they learn about consent and, like, having respect for your body and respect for other people is where it needs to go. Like, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to have sex with that girl. You don't have to be cool for anybody else. You know, I saw this meme the other day, like, fitting in will kill you. And, you know, the desire to fit in with the crowd, you know, what are you sacrificing? Your uniqueness, your weirdness, your smartness, like, just so you can fit in with the crowd, when you are the only person that matters, and you should be weird and great and beautiful all by yourself. Like, you don't have to fit in. You know, you can be the black sheep in a field of white sheep.
Yep.
You know, like, be different, be beautiful. Like, consent is the main thing that I feel like we need to be teaching our children.
Go ahead. I didn't mean
talking about the conversation in general, because teenagers are a lot smarter than they used to be. I mean, I was not as smart as my 15-year-old niece was at 15. So just really getting the conversation going, but not trying to scare them or be like, you're going to be in trouble if you don't tell me type thing. Like having it's okay to talk to me, not being the whole like, oh my gosh, you were at a party, you were drunk, what were you doing there? You lied to me, you're in so much trouble, you snuck out of the house type thing. It's sit, please tell me what happened. I'm here for you. I believe you. I support you. I don't care about any of that other stuff happened. This isn't your fault. Like because it could be from, hey, my boyfriend broke my phone, or I was touched inappropriately at a party, or somebody made a comment to me at school that was inappropriate, or they spread rumors at me, or something like that. Like having the more like relaxed, not getting angry kind of conversation with your children. Like, you're not going to be in trouble if you go get drunk at a party and you lie to me and sneak out of the house and something bad happens. No, I'm going to be there for you and support you and understand you and help you through this, rather than the latter.
Well, and I'm glad you talked about that. And I think a lot of my mindset today was kind of triggered on the fact that I watched on Facebook. I watched for the first time, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but there was a video of a girl who her boyfriend walked her into the restaurant, and they went in and sat down at a booth, and he had a tight hand grip on her hand, and she went to sit on the other side of the table, and he pulled her across and made her sit next to him. She scooted away. He pulled her closer. And I'm trying to be as descriptive as I can, because this stuff happens every day and a lot of us don't pay attention. So he ordered her food. She then sent back her food because she had written a note on a napkin. And the waitress came to the table and didn't look at the napkin. Well, when she came back, she had taken the plate full of food away. And when the girl handed the plate full of food back to the waitress, she handed it with the napkin underneath. When the girl walked over, they showed it on video, and it was real, because they actually called the police, and the police showed up at the restaurant, came in and took the guy outside, and then the waitress who read the note, that's what triggered the police call with the manager of the restaurant, took her out the back door. And I'm getting chills because I'm talking about it, because it truthfully, I'm hoping that somebody clicked on the video like I did, because it was an eye-opening video that reminded me that you don't know who you're sitting next to at the restaurant a lot of times. And you don't have to say anything. You might just pick up a note. You might just make a phone call. And, we've talked, go ahead. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
So I used, before I transitioned into the communications coordinator, I was the Green Dot coordinator, which is a violence prevention program focusing on bystander intervention. And that is the biggest thing out there right now regarding sexual assault, rape, domestic violence, everything that's going on right now. The fear that people have of stepping in. We promoted in our Green Dot program the 3 Ds: direct, delegate, right? You directly intervene, you delegate to somebody else, you're like the bartender or the nurse, or you delegate, like you call an agency or something like that. Like, it's all about getting involved. You don't have to go up to that couple that's fighting at the bar, or that you're like, he's kind of grabbing her a little hard. Like, you want to say something. That uncomfortable situation that you see every day, whether you're at the post office, you're at a restaurant, you're at the gym, you're somewhere. Everyone notices that. I mean, you don't necessarily think about it, but you see it and it's like, what can I do? You can literally fake a heart attack, and it distracts the people from, it stops what's going on, and it distracts the people. Oh, that he's having a heart attack. Oh, whoa. And that moment of violence stops. Or you can directly, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? Or, hey, to the bartender, that couple over there's arguing. Like, can you go over there and say something to them? Getting involved, saying something. We right now are in a society where people would rather film it and get YouTube famous rather than go over there and say something. Prime example of what's going on with the George Floyd case. How many videos were out there of what happened to that man, and how many people actually intervened and said that wasn't okay? It took one note at a restaurant to have a server pay attention, and that gentleman, or not gentleman, I shouldn't say that person was arrested. It takes seconds of your day. You could literally save someone's life. You're out at the bar and you see that girl that's slurring, not so great handling herself. She looks like a hot mess. And you see some guy oh, honey, I got you. I'll take you home, blah, blah, blah. In that moment, you think it doesn't look okay. Like, something's wrong there. What am I going to do about it? Hey, ma'am, excuse me. Do you need to go to the bathroom? Can you come to the bathroom? Like, I need somebody to help me right now. Or something. Like, hey, to the bartender, does that girl know that person? Like, do you know them? Are they going home? Are they going to be okay? Like, stepping in and doing your own part is going to make society change. And it all starts with you, because there's too many of us that sit back and don't say something. I was one of those people. I say something now. I mean, granted, there are times where you don't feel comfortable and you're scared. Like, you don't want to get into the middle of somebody fist fighting in a parking lot because you're scared. You don't want to get hit too, type thing. Like, all depends on confronting your own personal boundaries and what you feel comfortable with doing.
Right.
But delegating or distracting isn't necessarily getting involved, but you're still doing a part to help out. And that's kind of where it comes into the conversation of what we do. Because too many times I've noticed it in my personal life, my professional life, by working, eating, enjoying my life. Too many people don't say something. And they laugh about it. Like, they're the victim blaming. Oh, it was her fault. Like, oh, they're just fighting. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, that didn't really happen that way. She was drunk. Headlines in the newspaper are, young man's life is completely ruined by accusations of rape, rather than 23-year-old woman's life has changed forever because she was raped. Like, that, the headlines differ. So standing up and like saying something about that and being like, it's not okay to catcall that woman at the gas station. Like, get out of the work van with your buddies and you see a really pretty girl at Circle K and you're like, oh, wow, honey, I'd hit that. No, that's not okay to speak to somebody like that. That's not okay to, do anything like that. You tell them, this isn't right. This isn't okay. I don't like the way you're speaking of it. And it kind of sets somebody in check when they're like, oh, wow, I was just being friendly. I didn't know. But when you stand up and say it with a certain voice and say, I'm not okay with you making fun of that rape victim, or I'm not okay with how you treated that server, or whatever the case may be, kind of shakes people up a little bit. And they're like, oh, whoa, I never had somebody say that to me before. Let me reevaluate the way I think about it. Yeah.
And I think, there are times where we all have to rethink sometimes our approach. I've interjected into the middle of a domestic spat where the wife was at the location and she warned us he was coming. And I met him at the door and I said, look, no matter what you do here, the optics are not going to be good for you. don't care, go home. Just relax. It is whatever's going on, you're not going to settle in the bar. It's not going to happen. This is going to end badly. And yeah, I don't know whether that was 100% abusive situation, but it was leading down that path, and you could tell it was starting to amp up just with her action. But she asked for some help. She asked for an interceptor to kind of slow things down. I don't know what happened with her after that. That unfortunately, we don't follow up with people we don't know. At that point, that's a toughie, because she asked for help, but she asked a total stranger, and I said yeah. But it's one of those things where I didn't even think about it before I started having conversations with you guys about what we do, and I think that leads me back to the beginning of the show, where I talked about what we need to do as a neighborhood again to kind of step up and pay attention and help those who, she was brave enough to ask. Hopefully she was brave enough to ask C.A.R.E or Green Dot to get involved, or someone to get involved. And that was before you guys, before I knew the system, before I understood that you guys were out here, and you've been here for a long time. And it's amazing to me that I can remember these things back. I can't even imagine what happens with somebody who's gone through something that remembers every little detail day in and day out, and within that same, maybe even the same relationship, day in and day out. If I think about it now, because I get to talk with you guys and I get to remember these things, the victims are living with that person 24/7. And during COVID, 24/7 really meant 24/7 for a lot of them. And I think mindsets change, and I think conversations have to change. And I think you guys do a great job. And I love the fact that we're having like this open dialogue today. I know that you had some things you wanted to get out, and I'm going to let you do that. But I really think we need to really tear these walls down. I'm committed to it 100%, tearing the walls down and having dialogue. And I think we all learn from it. And I'm going to go ahead and let you have the floor for a few minutes, because I know you have some things, but I know you'll lead in with some other stuff too. Go ahead.
Shameless plug. Go follow our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube channel. We have on our YouTube, we have a series called Caring Conversations that discusses our services. We have other community partners that we talk to on there. We talk to a sexual assault trained SANE nurse, just about a little bit of what we do, what we offer. We talk about Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. We talk about Sexual Assault Awareness Month. It's at C.A.R.E Shirley County. I think it might scroll. If not, you'll find me from our website and all of that. You can get our social media. During the month of April, as I talked about before, we do have the 5K, which is super easy. It is free. If you want free stuff, just sign up and start by believing, and get behind the conversation and start by believing, because that is the first step when it comes to sexual assault awareness, is start by believing. We're also doing, it's called Denim Day on April 28th. Every year we celebrate Denim Day, and it's Denim Day is, there we go. April 28th is Denim Day. In the 1990s, an 18-year-old girl in Italy was assaulted by her 45-year-old driving instructor. The case went to court and was ultimately, the appeal, he won his appeal because the judge said she wore tight jeans. So she had to have helped him take them off, and therefore it had to have been consensual, which is absolutely false. And we wear denim in support of sexual assault awareness for that, because it doesn't matter if I wear tight jeans. It doesn't matter if I have a short dress on. It doesn't matter if I'm walking around in a bikini. Consent. No means no. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing. So it doesn't matter, period. So that we wear denim on April 28th. We would also like you to wear jeans, go to work, get your work members involved, get your family involved, snap a photo of you in jeans, tag us on C.A.R.E in support of Denim Day. Our last thing and what we're doing is yoga and wine. It's not in April, but it was close. It's May 1st. Tickets are $30, which we purchased the day of the event. Space is limited, so we're asking people to RSVP by emailing careauxiliary@gmail.com. And it's going to be a fun time. Come out. Yoga Sanctuary is doing a traditional or fun moving and grooving yoga session. The History Park generously donated the space to us, so it's going to be beautiful in downtown Punta Gorda. And then you can drink wine, like wine, raffle, snacks. Like, it's going to be a great time. Like, start your day with some yoga and wine. I mean, why not? Who doesn't want to spend a Saturday doing yoga, drinking wine? Yeah. Those are our events for April. And if anybody, you know someone or you are someone that has been a victim of sexual assault, domestic violence, or any other violent crimes in Charlotte County, C.A.R.E is here for you. We have our numbers that are scrolling across the screen. We're here 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. A live advocate will answer that phone. Live advocate will answer the chat. A live advocate will answer the text messages. We are here for you to help you in any way, shape, or form possible. Oh, look at those. There's national hotlines. That's cool. We're just here for you. And the main thing that I, as a person, would like to get the conversation going is holding people accountable and getting people more aware of what is going on in their local community and realizing that it does happen here and we can do something about it. So
seek action.
Yes. See something, say something.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Well, I really appreciate your time, Amy. I'm glad we had this conversation today. I look forward to every month. I really do. I look forward to it. And you and your team, you guys do a great job. Make sure you tell them all I said hello.
I will.
Because they are amazing, each and every one of them. And you guys just keep up the good work. And if you need anything along the way, let us know. Thanks for being part of the show.
We thank you for having us on every month and being able to use your guys' platform to spread our word.
Look forward to it. We're going to do lots more great things together. We're going to open people's eyes and ears and let them see and learn and listen. And that's all the three keys right there.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys have a great day. This is John Rawlings with Real Talk 97.5 FM saying thank you very much for listening in. And we will see you on Friday. Another special guest on Friday. So don't forget to join in 3:04 to 4 o'clock. Thanks and have a great day and drive safe on the way home. No craziness on I-75. Just a reminder. Thank you.